Hey y'all, I'm Carolina Tony. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we are in my town, Cheraw, South Carolina. And I'm standing outside of Old St. David's Church. This thing is way over 200 years old. It was actually the last established parish in colonial South Carolina. And we are going to go inside and look around and explore the church grounds right after this station identification. St. David's Church was the last parish to be established under King George III. It was named for David, the patron saint of Wales. Shortly after February 26, 1770, construction began very close to the Great Pee River. The church was in use by 1772, but it wasn't actually completed until 1774. This high pulpit was constructed from polished black walnut. It was reconstructed following research from surviving pulpits. The handrail is the original handrail in the church. Survived after all of those years. Anglican churches at that time were very plain and simplistic. Most of the emphasis was put on preaching. Very simple communion table. All the pews face a centrally located pulpit. During the Revolutionary War, Cheraw was a hotbed of activity. St. David's Church served as a quarters for the Revolutionary soldiers, as well as a hospital. In the summer of 1780, the 71st Highlanders used the church for quarters, and a lot of them died while in Cheraw, possibly because of the smallpox. And some were buried in the church cemetery in unmarked mass graves at the front of the church. Some of the officers were buried under some bricks. The church pews, or box seats, have been reconstructed to look just like they would have looked in the 1700s. As in a lot of churches of that time, there was a special place for slaves known as the slave gallery. It's accessed through a narrow stairway leading up to the gallery. Not a lot of room, but definitely a real good view. You can see that the bell tower was added later after the church started. It's real neat to see how it was put together though. In 1865, General William Tecumseh Sherman spent 3 days with us in Cheraw. Because the river was swollen, he couldn't cross. The Confederates had burned the bridge behind him, so he had to stay with us for a while. A large pile of gunpowder exploded, causing a little damage to the church. This picture was printed in a northern newspaper at the time. You can see old St. David's right there. Originally there was no lighting in the church. Overhead now you can see some fire sprinklers that were installed during the renovation back in the 70s. But there were no lights. And as best they can tell, they didn't have any source of heat either. Those box seats would tend to keep in a little heat as families would gather in. Even an old pump organ to remind you of the old times. This glass is original to the church. You can see the imperfections in it. This says, near this place rest several soldiers of the 71st Fraser Highlanders who died in the summer of 1780. And these are some really old graves here. Here rested an officer from the 71st Highlanders. And that's his grave there, covered in bricks. Originally, the church did not have that addition, nor did it have the steeple. Another grave from the 71st Highlanders from 1780. Now, I cannot get any confirmation for sure because I'm told that Captain Moses Rogers, that died in 1821, the commander of the SS Savannah, he was the first to steam his ship across the Atlantic in 1819. I'm told that he's buried somewhere else, but is this just a marker, or is he buried here? And if he's not buried here, why is there a stone? World may never know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a big old thumbs up. Be sure to tell your family and friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, go down below and